now standing in the living room of the castle house in front of the fireplace. And of course, the chimneys extend up through the second floor and down into the basement. You will notice that there are gas logs as an insert, and also that it could accommodate, and probably did in an earlier day, logs, real logs, as a fireplace. It was done with the decorative features of the natural stone showing through the plaster, with lots of room above the mantel for wonderful painting of some sort. I was in the house when the senior Mrs. Franklin lived here, and it was beautifully decorated. In just a moment, we're going to move to another part of this front room or front parlor, and I want you to see the main entrance, although it's barred now, of course, but it has the curving structure, as you will see, the arches all through the house. We are now looking at the arched front door. Of course, it is barred now to prevent the unwanted visitor to come in, but you'll notice the structure of the door and the wonderful window in the center of the door, and it was certainly a very lovely entrance off of what is now North College, but at that time was the end of College Street, with steps that went down the bluff and onto the street below and led into the college campus. You can see that the arch construction, as we look at some other features of the house, is continued both in the interior as well as in the exterior. The iron grates in the face of the fireplace were intended to let heat come out into the room, and you will find similar iron grates all over the house at the baseboards to allow heat from the furnace below to come into the room. These were designed to carry the heat of the furnace, not the heat of the fireplace, and every room had several grates like this so that the heat from the furnace in the basement could warm the interior of the house. The staircase rises from the front parlor up into the second floor, and you will notice that the balustrade and the newel post are most likely oak and perhaps some other light wood, and they're decorative. And the newel post carries the arch in carving, as is exemplified all over the house. We're now looking at the chandelier in the front parlor or living room. It is probably of late 20s or 1930s vintage, and you can see the ceiling above. All the walls and the ceiling are plaster facings over concrete walls, so the structure was built to stand. I can remember in 1950 being in this room when the senior Mrs. Franklin was entertaining a group of ladies called the members of the Blue Violet. And these were women teachers. There was a similar organization in the community called the Red Rose, and this was an organization of men teachers. We sat about this fireplace with our dainty little plates and cups of coffee and tea cookies and enjoyed talking about education. The whole Franklin family was dedicated to education. We are now looking at the arched doorway from the front parlor leading into the dining room, and you'll notice the arches continue to emulate the structure of arches all across the house, which was carried out in every detail. When we go into the dining room, we're going to look at an unusual 1930s light fixture, which is very nice. We're now in the dining room looking at one of what were called candle sconces that were against, there are two of them, we're looking at one of them, against the west wall of the dining area. And her buffet stood between the two sconces. These sconces were called candle sconces, but they're electrified. And the little candle flamed bulb is in a wrought iron fixture that is really Art Deco and could date back to the 1920s or earlier if the house were that old, and is a multicolored enamel over the iron. The camera is now focusing on the hardwood floor. The house is all floored with hardwood oak over concrete. You can't get any better than that, and you see what beautiful wood the camera is exposing to our eye at this time. We're now in the basement looking at the furnace. You can see that it is a large furnace with many hot air ducts leading to the other floors. This is the bottom floor with 2 floors above us, and it is partially underground, although there are windows all around you can see out, but 4 or 5 feet of it of the structure is underground. And this furnace heated the entire house. The basement has a bathroom and several rooms, including turret rooms. Very interesting, and probably were used at one time for studies or storage, or even a bedroom would have been possible in the basement. The camera is now focusing on one of several 1930s light fixtures in the halls of the house. Here again, these are Art Deco features of iron with enamel in colors over them. A truly unique and nice feature of the house. I am now standing in the southeast bedroom upstairs, the alcove of the bedroom. As you can see, the alcove is opened with an arch, and up on the ceiling is another of those wonderful Art Deco light fixtures, electric fixtures, which are all over the house. This room could have been used as a little sitting room for a bedroom. There are, as I mentioned before, 4 bedrooms upstairs. The northeast bedroom also has a little turret room like this, a little alcove for sitting. The other bedrooms do not have these features, but there is a bath upstairs also. So I've been thinking as we've gone along, in this house are 4 baths in this house, which was most unusual for the era in which it was built. Please notice the window features. These are the iron frames that were placed in the house when it was built, and the windows have an opening so that 2 of the tiers can go out and are held with wrought iron or maybe just iron features, so that when the wind blew, the windows didn't bang closed, and provided for circulation throughout the entire upstairs. Also, they're screened to keep out the little critters of the air. You will also get a good picture of one of the grates, one of the iron grates in the house, in the upstairs, just above the floor, where the forced air from the furnace downstairs heated the upstairs. And a wonderful viewing of the door features. All the doors have glass doorknobs and are backed by brass surroundings for the keyhole. Wonderful feature, very nice for this period. This is a wonderful view from the southeast bedroom. The view is good from both bedrooms, and you're seeing the city of Tahlequah on the northeast side near the campus, and now also Bear Creek, or Town Branch, as it runs at the foot of the university campus, and the stone dike or wall along Bear Creek. The second floor had a pull-down stairway which gave access to the turret room on the east, and the attic was all floored. And people did, when they lived here, use that turret room, but it was just used, the upstairs was really just used for storage. There's also an outside door on this floor which leads onto a deck, and the deck has a fine view of Northeastern's campus and also Rosamond House and those houses along Seminary Street. We are now concluding our tour of the castle, the home of Mr. and Mrs. M.E. Franklin, built in the years from 1929 to 1934. The home is on the National Register of Historic Places, and Tahlequah specifically asked to do the paperwork to place this home on the register because of its wonderful design and structural significance. So, it is indeed a credit to the ingenuity of a manual training professor and his wife who had a vision for the future, for the home is still in good condition.